Welcome, NutritionRadio.org listeners. This is Lonnie Lowery, University Nutrition Professor of over 20 years and podcast host of long-running shows like Iron Radio. Come on in. Weight Management Tips. Hey, everybody. Today's weight management tip is about changing your perspective. We're going to call it the golden rule of weight management, but really this is a collection of phrases and hacks, if you will. I don't like that term so much, but ways to reframe how you think about weight management. Maybe some of this will resonate, maybe it won't. But these are, in fact, something that I have come to call the golden rule, sort of collectively. Part of what I'm drawing on here and then building on is from the Mayo Clinic's tips for weight management, 6 strategies for success in weight loss. You can find that by Googling Mayo Clinic, I'm sure, in the appropriate terms. Part of the base concept here is that it's not enough to simply eat healthy foods and exercise for a few weeks or even a few months. But if you want long-term successful weight management, you need to make changes that you can do forever. And I'm going to show you what I mean from a physiology point of view. Let me say that again. You need to make changes that you can do forever. There are 2 metaphors here that I like to use to explain the physiology, the concept of flux, right? Anytime you look at something that's biological, a blood value, let's say, or a body weight or body composition, it's a sort of a snapshot of inputs and outputs at any given time. So it's a rate of appearance, a rate of a disappearance. More common way to look at that would be 2 things. One is look at the human body like it's a stream. You can never step into the same stream, exactly the same stream, twice. Right? By the time you get out and get back in, the original water has moved on and there's new in its place. That kind of thing. The other metaphor here is looking at the body like a wagon. Your body composition, your body fatness, it's only going to follow you, your behaviors. If you turn right and you start to consume more calories, the wagon's going to follow you and you're going to end up with a bigger wagon. If you turn left and consume fewer calories, the same thing. The wagon's going to follow your behaviors. You can't escape it. The wagon's behind you. It's going to reflect what you are doing. What I like about both of these metaphors is this sort of growth mindset that what you wake up and do tomorrow will lead towards something newer and better. It's a growth mindset. It's not, oh, I am stuck. I am this. I'm X. No, that's not how biology works. We're not like a car engine that if you don't tinker with it, it basically stays the same thing day after day, week after week, month after month. It's always in a state of flux. That's an opportunity, right? That's an opportunity for a growth mindset. So as you look at the future and where to pull your wagon, you need to identify what are your challenges. Look at your daily routine, an honest look. Right? Even be like devil's advocate for yourself. You don't want to make excuses. A daily routine, what's it really look like? What are the personal challenges to weight loss? And how can you manipulate them to gradually change? Those challenges, you can come up with some way that works for you to deal with them. It could be contingency management, right? If a certain person comes around that's an enabler and is going to encourage those old behaviors that lead to something you don't want, what are you going to say to that person, or how can you rearrange your schedule so that doesn't happen, or how you can compensate for it in some way? Now, when we look at this idea of a golden rule being something you can do for the rest of your life, essentially, that's not to say there won't be occasional setbacks. You have to plan for occasional setbacks. Instead of giving up entirely, though, if there is one, then you just start fresh the next day. That's something that the Mayo Clinic points out. A friend of mine, another dietitian, says a lapse is not a collapse. That makes a lot of sense. So let's say you wipe out a half a gallon of ice cream tonight. Just get back to your oatmeal and berries and protein tomorrow morning, or whatever it is that you have planned for yourself. A lapse is not a collapse. Something else that she used to say was progress, not perfection. As long as you're moving toward a goal to win the war, you can lose a small battle and you can still win the war. So progress, not perfection. So when I say something you can do the rest of your life, I don't mean perfection. I just mean progress. And when it comes to how long that progress, those little wins, those little battles will lead toward winning the war, what is the war? How long will it take? You also have to think about how long it took to get in the situation you're in now. You've probably heard that before, but there's a lot of truth to that. We've talked about the sometimes grim mathematics of weight loss in the past. This is not something that's going to happen this month or even next month. It's going to take many months, and we really have to rely on maturity, right? Maturity, in a sense, in this perspective, is delayed gratification. It's not the immediate, feel good, eat the half a box of Ho-Hos. It's put that aside and delay the gratification. Now, I'm actually a fan of an approach strategy where you try to fill up on things that you deem good, right? Speaking with a health professional, I suppose, on diet. Pursue the good things. Don't just try an avoidance strategy. But you get the idea here. Expending the tens of thousands of calories that you need, or exhaling that amount of carbon, again, you can refer back to earlier episodes for my explanation of that. That's going to take a long time. It's going to take the maturity that, it's going to take a long time, and I'm going to be okay with that. And the changes that I make are small enough that I can make them stick for a long, long time. Instead of something like a contest date diet, which I have done before and gotten very lean, but by the time I was done, I was engaging in a daily routine that was by no means sustainable. I even wrote an article once when I was one of the staff writers for BioTest and TMag or T-Nation. It was called Dieting for the Long Haul, and it was this idea that smaller behavior changes tend to stick longer than really dramatic things that one might do in order to get ready for a contest. Now, there is something to be said for getting ready for a contest, getting quite lean, maybe not doing that last month of extreme, getting truly ripped, but getting down quite a bit, let's say 10% below your current body weight, and then holding it there for a while before you try to go any further. So there's the golden rule and some of the sayings and phrases that might resonate for you. Changing your perspective by understanding, again, the golden rule of weight management. The changes you make are things that should stick, that could arguably be done the rest of your life because your body is just that wagon that's going to follow your daily routine in the direction that you take it. There's no battle of the bulge. It's your body is doing exactly what you're asking it to do. If you're consuming extra calories, it's going to store them for times of famine. It's not a battle. It's not negative. Your body is just doing what it does. And remember, your body's always in that state of flux like a stream. Remember that a lapse is not a collapse, that you're looking for progress, not perfection, and that it's going to take a while, a good long while, months to, let's say, a year or more, depending on a lot of things, how much weight you want to lose, your endocrine status, right, hormones at work, your medical history, if you will. There's lots of things that go into this existing habit support structure. Those are topics for another day, but they all speak to this maturity, again, that feeds into the golden rule. Please give that some thought. Let some of those ideas roll around in your head a little bit and see what you think. It really depends on what resonates with you again. And let me just wrap up with the housekeeping. Remember that we are on iTunes. Please be one of the first to leave us a review. I know these are just brief little segments. You can even leave a comment like, I wish the episodes were 20 minutes instead of 10. We could give that some thought. Or, Lowry's boring. He needs a co-host, even though they're brief. Okay, maybe I can bring in different students to talk on the Fitness Fridays, if you will, or something like that. Also, you can find us back up on YouTube. You can search within YouTube Lawnman07. But that's going to be it for this time, and we'll see you later. The NutritionRadio.org podcast is for informational purposes only. If you're interested in starting a diet or exercise program, check with your physician, nutritionist, or qualified exercise physiologist in order to make the progress that you need.